Gorgeous ones, how are we doing today? If you hop on and join me, say hello. I would love to know where you're joining from, what's going on for you today. So, for those of you that don't know me, I am Holly, and in the context of this, I am a Reiki master and teacher. I'm also a teacher of Ayurveda. I'm also a business mentor for the Healer Women, but today I'm going to be focusing mainly on Reiki with you. So, hello Victor, how are you, lovely? From Dallas in Texas, gorgeous. I am joining you from the UK. I am joining you from a little place called the Isle of Wight. It's just at the bottom of the UK. Those of you will know that have been with me before. Hi Anne from Ontario, Belleville, gorgeous, lovely. I wonder what it's like there today. I have to say it's really grey here today. We've had a bit of a grey week on the island, which I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm getting to the point where I'm really ready for summer. Hi Natalie, gorgeous, lovely to have you with me. Hope you're doing okay. What I will say is I am live on 2 devices. This is often the way I work. I'm all for, making things easy, right? Being productive rather than recording things several times. So if I'm like playing tennis with my head, that is why. It's not that I'm being rude or trying to avoid you. It's just I've got 2 devices going. Carol from Canada, it's snowy here. Oh, lovely. We don't really get much snow, I have to say. My children would love snow though. We get snow probably like once every 4 years on the island. So my son, who's coming up to 8 this year, he's only seen snow like once. And he would have loved to have made like a snowman this year. So he'll be really jealous of Carol and Anne today. Albania, lovely to have you here. Alinda, lovely name as well, beautiful. I hope I'm saying that right. Hi Fran, gorgeous, lovely to have you here. Hope you're having a great day. So, if you're ready, let's just take a moment to kind of settle in, as always, so that we can be open to the information we're about to receive. You may want to put your hand on your heart space and maybe your other one on your belly. From a Reiki point of view, from a Japanese point of view, the chakra system originally, although a lot of the time with Reiki training, we go into the chakra system from a Vedic lens as well. But from an original Japanese viewpoint, we have these 3 main energy centers. So we have one in our belly, we have one in our heart, and we have one in our head. So, and what I love about this is the simplicity of it, is that we want to have that really grounded space that comes from our belly, that real kind of strength and power that comes from this energy center. We want to have an open heart. We want to be operating from a loving energy, from a loving space. And we need our logic. We need our mind. We need things to make sense. We need to be able to evaluate and figure out what works for us or what we want to take from something and what we want to leave. So, off tangent already, I invite you to bring your hand to your heart space and the other one to the belly. And just taking a moment to connect into the breath. To allow that nervous system to settle down. To let go of anything that we've been doing before, anything we've been worrying about. Seeing if you can just give yourself a moment to park all of that stuff and just be. You may even find that you want to take in a nice deep breath And let go of any tension with a sigh. And doing that again if that feels good for you. Nice deep breath in. And letting that go with a sigh. And just taking a moment to consider something that's happened today that you're really grateful for. And that can be something big or it could be something little. It might be the fact that we get to connect with each other in this amazing way. It might just be that you had the most beautiful cup of tea today. It might be that you're living in the house and location of your dreams. Or it might be that you had the strength to get out of bed today, to get yourself ready. Whatever it is for you, allow that gratitude to fill up that heart space. And notice the sensation that that gratitude brings. How does your body feel when it's filled with gratitude? Maybe seeing if you can strengthen that feeling, amplify that gratitude, allow it to move into every cell of your being. You may even see a little smile creeping on your face. And just allowing yourself to enjoy this feeling within you. And as and when you're ready, slowly coming back, opening your eyes, seeing if you can bring this energy with you, this energy of gratitude. Oh no, sound was on and off again on the Insight timer. I hope it's sorted itself out now. It's saying the signal is excellent, so I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about energy. And I don't know about you, but yeah, I'll just share actually a little bit about how I came into the world of Reiki, how Reiki entered my life. So a while ago, when I was about 30, I became very unwell with rheumatoid arthritis after the birth of my third child. I'd gone from being quite fit and healthy and doing, being active and working full time and having 3 kids and all of those things. And we moved house actually, and actually even before that I was starting to get back pain, and I thought, I've probably put something out when I was carrying my son. And then my hips started to hurt, and again I thought, perhaps it was the labour. And so I was back and forth to the chiropractor and nothing was really happening. And then we moved house, and the next day my knee was like the size, well, it like tripled in size. And it was red and it was hot and it was, you know, and it came out of nowhere. Long story short, this went on for about a year of me going back and forth to the doctors without getting any answers. They couldn't figure out what it was. And it got to the point where, like, just walking was painful. I was going up and down the stairs on my bum. I couldn't carry my son. It was a really challenging time in my life. And then after that, back and forth to the doctors, in the end, I decided to go private. For those of you in the US, you know, we have a different healthcare system over here, but so I decided to pay to go private, and then I got the answer that, yeah, it's rheumatoid arthritis, and it's quite severe, and we're going to have to start you on a course of a cocktail of many drugs. And I'd been the sort of person that didn't really like taking paracetamol for a headache. You know, I didn't like, it didn't sit well with me, the whole putting drugs into my system. So all of a sudden I had to get okay with this, because, you know, I wasn't prepared to go on in pain for the rest of my life, which could be another 30 years, right? Who knows? 30 years, another 70 years, I mean. So I thought, you know what, I need to do something here. I could see I was putting all my power in the doctor's hands. I was saying, it's your job to fix me. And I realised I had to really start doing something myself. So the first thing I did was I realised my mental health had taken a nosedive, like literally, because I was so fed up. I was in chronic pain. I didn't recognise myself anymore. My sense of identity had gone. I didn't know who this person was anymore. And I remember coming out of the chiropractors and seeing this poster for a Zen meditation group. And I just had this feeling within me of, that's what I need. And I dabbled in meditation before, but never really had a good, strong, stable practice that was self-led or deep. So I phoned up the woman, and at the time, like, I didn't have much money. I remember saying to her, can I pay in installments? Would you mind? Would that be okay? And bless her, she was lovely and allowed me to go along. And I remember, like, getting there and realising there were stairs upwards and thinking, oh God, and like dragging myself up these stairs. And anyway, this was like an 8-week course, I think it was. And I think it was week 7 or week 6 or 7. I'd already started to really notice shifts within me. I was really, you know, diving into the practices. I loved the practices. I loved the mysticism. I loved the practicality at the same time. And I think about week 6 or 7, we did an energy meditation. And we would sit there, closed eyes. She'd tell us what we needed to do, and then we'd all just sit there and meditate together in silence. And I remember at the end of that energy meditation, I was like, oh my God, what was that? And I was a little bit disturbed by it, if I'm honest. I felt a little bit overwhelmed. And I can remember she was going around the room, and everyone's like, oh, I didn't really notice much, or I didn't really feel that much, or I was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? To me, that felt just overwhelming. And I remember talking to my teacher after the class. I felt a little bit embarrassed that I'd kind of had an experience that was different to others. And I remember talking to her, and she said, yeah, you're sensitive to energy. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about this, remembering that conversation. And she said, I'm a Reiki master. I can teach you how to work with energy. And that was kind of how my Reiki journey began. And that teacher to this day is a very close friend of mine, a mentor of mine. And then my journey went on into many other healing modalities and beautiful wisdom that has now allowed me to find health and wellness, which I am so, so grateful for. But more importantly, I'm a much better version of me than I was back then. Peace. Had I ever been diagnosed before? No, it come completely out of the blue. There was no family history of it. It was bizarre, but I'm so grateful for getting rheumatoid arthritis, because I wouldn't be sat here teaching you about the beautiful world of Reiki. I wouldn't be training my coaches via Veda. I wouldn't be, I feel so privileged and honoured that this is my life now. And I get to operate from a much better place internally. So I'm enormously grateful. Peace, I'm sending you love, because I just know how challenging that is and how it takes its toll on every area of your life, right? Like even my relationships suffered through my chronic pain. But I wanted to share that story. So, because Reiki often finds us. And I remember my teacher telling me that once, like, Reiki will find you. And it tends to, we will come across the teacher, or we will find it at the right time, or, you may have heard about it before, but all of a sudden it will feel consuming and you have to know more. But the truth is, you work with energy every single day of your life, whether that's consciously or unconsciously. It's not this thing that's this, weird, mysterious thing. We're all energy. And there will be times when you do use that, not necessarily thinking of it in those terms. So, for example, how many of you have a particular playlist that you put on to do the cleaning or go to the gym because it picks you up or it motivates you? How many times have you painted a room and it's given the place a whole new feel, a whole new energetic experience? How many times have you walked into a room and just known that something had gone on in that room, or that there was an atmosphere between two certain people and you could pick up on it, even if they weren't saying anything, even if they looked quite relaxed and their body language was fine? We are constantly working with energy. We are energetic beings, and when we're in our mother's womb and when we're born, those first few years of our life, that is our main sense, especially in the womb. We're just picking up on the energy of what's going on. And then as we grow up and come into the world, we tend to shift our emphasis into talking, looking, and reading things a little bit more differently. And then we're taught, trust your mind. Don't trust your instincts. And there's some wisdom in that, sometimes our instincts can be linked to something subconscious that's going on, but generally you can feel the difference. So as I go through the other elements of Reiki, we started to look at the precepts last time. I invite you to go into this discussion with that mindset that everything is energy, that you're already working with energy. Because I can remember going into this initially, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit cynical. I was a little bit, how does that work then? I'm not sure I understand that. I'm not sure I get, I'm not sure I get how that could work. And my very logical brain would kind of dampen it all down, and I wouldn't receive the wisdom to the level that I needed to. So I invite you to see if you can park that part of you for a little bit and just receive it and see how it feels. For me, when something's true, it hits me either here or like in my sacral area. Like I just feel it in my body, like, yeah, that feels really true for me. Tina, lovely. You're very welcome. And you're registered on level 1 in the UK. Beautiful. I'm so pleased. It is a gorgeous practice. So last time we talked about the precepts, the Gokai, the Reiki principles. So let's think about that from an energetic point of view. Why would they have anything to do with energy? Well, the truth is, when we're in a place of presence, when we have that gratitude within us, when we are operating from our heart in what feels true for us, then we're an open vessel. There's no restriction. There's no contraction in the body. We're able to be that open vessel for energy. We're not fighting it. We're not getting in the way of it. We're not restricting its flow. And this energy, you may have heard it being called many other things. So that could be prana, chi, ki. In the Christian tradition, it might be called the Holy Spirit. The truth is they're one and the same, right? Energy, that life force, runs through everything. So then we look at the other 4 elements that make up a Reiki practice. So we've got our Gokai. The second one is our breathing and meditation techniques. So again, why would that help? Well, again, it's about creating that empty vessel for the energy to move through. We're being a channel for energy when we are working with Reiki. So whether that is, we can use Reiki for healing, we can use Reiki for manifesting, we can use Reiki over distances, we can use Reiki to heal past wounds, to heal past lives. There's so many different ways that we can do that. But in order to do that, we have to be this clear vessel. And so meditation, and those of you on the Insight Timer, right, you will know this. That's why you're here. Meditation is one of the most healing practices for the mind. It allows you to not stop the thoughts, but stop the thoughts controlling you. It allows those thoughts to be there, but not restrict and contract you. You can maintain that open vessel. And the same with the breathing. The breathing techniques is brilliant for shifting emotional energy. Our breathwork practices can be ideal, especially if we're going through times of struggle or we're feeling like our emotions are too big for us. Breath can be a great way that we can move that through and come back to that empty vessel. So that's number 2, breathing and meditation techniques. Number 3 is symbols and mantra. So again, I invite you to think of this in terms of, because this, I'll be honest, this was one of the ones I struggled with. I'd be like, I don't get it. I don't get how looking at a symbol, using a mantra, how that can affect the energy. I thought, if it was a symbol that I could relate to in some way, then perhaps. Or if it was a word I could relate to in some way, then perhaps. But this is where my Ayurvedic training really helped me, because it allowed me to go deep into the world of Vedic mantra and the vibration that is present in all syllables, in all words, whether they're a word we understand or not. So, from a Vedic point of view, Om is the sound of the universe. It is the sound of creation. It's the sound of all things. And so our mantras in Reiki work on a similar way. They have a certain vibrational frequency that generates a certain type of energy that allows us to move and manipulate the energy in a particular way. Patty, you happen to go on the live page today and you're going to Reiki level 1 training this weekend? Beautiful. Oh, you're in the right place, lovely. Obviously the Reiki was guiding you. So we have in our Reiki tools and techniques particular symbols that we can use for a number of different things. So whether that's a particular mantra and symbol for distance healing, allowing that energy to close that time-space gap on this 3D plane. Whether that's, we could use the same symbol for healing past wounds, or to actually give healing energy to something we want to bring into our future. We also have particular symbols that are going to give us particular things. So there's symbols that we can work with if we need to generate more energy, if we need to give that energy more power. We also have ones that are also more nurturing and nourishing. So those days when you need that kind of maternal love, you can give that to yourself. And I, as a Reiki master and teacher, I've spent a long time sitting with these symbols, sitting with the mantras, meditating on these symbols, meditating on these mantras. And I can tell you, I've gone from someone that was very cynical around it to someone that's just like, well, of course, yeah, it's got a very different feel to it. There's a very different energy to it. And it just feels obvious now. But I want to invite you to be okay with the fact that if that feels a little bit of a stretch right now, if you haven't come across any of those kind of techniques right now, then that's absolutely fine. A little bit of cynicism isn't going to do you any harm. But if you can try and park it when if for those of you that choose to go into Reiki training, see if you can park that, be open, and just be curious and see what happens. And you will be amazed. And some of the reason we have those mantras and symbols is Dr. Usui, who is the founder of Reiki, his background had Tibetan elements. And one of the things that Tibetan Buddhism has is they will and would have often meditated on symbols. And so, many of you may have seen the Shri mantra, which is a meditation symbol that you can just sit and meditate on, with the idea of gaining enlightenment. So again, this is a reminder that this Reiki isn't just about hands-on healing. That's a byproduct from developing yourself in a spiritual way. The more we can raise our own vibration, become that clear vessel, the easier it is to channel Reiki. So then we move on to the next one. The next one is attunements or blessings or initiations. So at each level of our Reiki training, we have an attunement. And this is a practice that your teacher will go through with you that will allow you to be open to that level of Reiki, that level of energy work that you're going to be doing at that level. Again, from a very Western and honest mindset here, I struggled with that concept. I was like, but how? How does that work? And it's very difficult to find a logical reason for why it does. So when I went into my first attunement, I decided I didn't need to know the why. I didn't need to understand the why. I am confident that in my lifetime we will have a scientific explanation for this. There's many different research practices that are going on around Reiki at the moment. There's some very interesting studies actually for those of you that are interested in the scientific side around the effect of Reiki on water. So I would Google that if you want to know more. But so when I went into my first Reiki attunement, I thought, I'm just going to park the why. I'm going to be open and just see what happens. And I could feel the energy that was moving through me through that attunement. But more importantly, what I noticed was a change in me afterwards. little things. Not, I wasn't a whole new person, but I found that I was taking care of myself a little bit more easily. So I wasn't so quick to reach for some kind of numbing agent, whether that be the TV or the glass of wine or whatever it was at that time, the packet of crisps. I found that without particularly trying, it wasn't like a conscious effort. I was just automatically not feeling like I needed them. I was just more able to be present with whatever came up, whatever challenge, whatever stress, whatever emotion. I could just allow myself to ride the wave of that effortlessly. Not always, let's be real, not always. But I noticed a huge shift. So attunements are a big part of our Reiki practice. We need to be attuned to Reiki. And from my experience, that can be a really beautiful part of a Reiki practice, of your own personal Reiki practice. And then finally, we have the hands-on healing. So you can see, for someone that's a Reiki master and Reiki teacher, when people ask me, what's Reiki? Or, when I say to someone, do you know what Reiki is? And they go, oh yeah, it's the hands-on treatment. And I'm like, yeah, but there's so much more. And, the truth is, you could have a very complete Reiki practice with only doing hands-on healing for yourself. And that would be a very beautiful tool to have in your toolbox. So tomorrow, I'm going to be guiding you through a Reiki meditation where we can work with energy. You don't need to be attuned to Reiki for this to work, because if you are attuned to Reiki, you will just feel the effects heightened. For those of you that aren't attuned to Reiki, it's absolutely fine. You're still just working with energy. And you haven't heard of the Reiki mantras before, so they come in from levels 2 upwards. So you have some at level 2, and then you have more at master level. And then, some people separate out Reiki master and Reiki teacher. I combine them in one training because I don't see the need to separate it out, if I'm honest. So I hope you can join me tomorrow, and we will experience some energy together and how you can use it, how you can shift it, how you can change it, how you can use it for the greatest good, which is what we aim to do in Reiki. Our intention for the energy that we're working with is always for it to be used for the greatest good. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope that's given you a little bit more of an insight into what a Reiki practice entails. If you are interested in learning more about Reiki and the Reiki training I offer, then you can go have a look at my website. One of the things I was really keen to do was make it as accessible as possible. So it's training that you can do from the comfort of your own home. So you can go have a look at that if that feels right for you. Chris, is attuning to Reiki energy the same as doing energy work where you call in energy from the universe, or is it a different source of energy? Yeah, so an attunement is where a Reiki master or Reiki teacher master will use that universal energy to assist you in being able to open up to a new level of vibration. It's also, from a very kind of ritualistic point of view, it's like a blessing to allow you to operate at that level of Reiki. So a bit like how a shaman would operate, you wouldn't be able to use shamanistic practices without the blessing of a master or guide above you. But ultimately, the attunement process is it will shift any blocks of energy that are going on for you that are restricting or holding you back from operating at that level. So we go through the Reiki training in incremental levels, so it's not too much. You know, if someone gave you a master teacher attunement before you'd even had level 1, it would be overwhelming. So this is why we do it in incremental steps, so it's easy to adjust in the body. You'd also have like a healing crisis where all of your stuff might come up at once and it'd just be very overwhelming. So it's done in a very beautiful healing way. What's today's topic? So in terms of what this was called, what the talk was called, this was about what are the 5 elements of Reiki. So yesterday we went through the Gokai. Today we went through what are the other 4 pieces that we need to have a complete Reiki practice. So I wanted to kind of shed some light that it's far more than just hands-on healing. And I hope you've enjoyed it. So lovelies, I will, I've just seen the comments on Instagram, lovely. You are very welcome. So I will love you and leave you. Have a gorgeous day. I will be back here tomorrow, same time, where we can experience a beautiful energy meditation together. Take care, and I will see you soon.